Hey, my name's Chelsea. Welcome to our channel. I want to share with you a tough experience that we went through just to relate to you out there who are going through the same thing or maybe have in the past and everybody thought you were crazy at that time. So back in 2013, our lives had changed. We never expected such a beautiful home to be so dark. We did not know what we were getting ourselves into, and we never understood that it was related to things that were happening to our family members that were there before we were. When you see such a beautiful home and a great opportunity, you see just that. You don't know what comes with the old age of the house or the history of the house, especially when you're looking at a home that was built so long ago. We never really question those things, whether you're into the paranormal or not. You don't think of that first, in most cases. This house was built in 1929. It was in Waterford, Michigan. At the time, my father-in-law Russell and my brother-in-law Jordan resided in the home. There were some things going on that John and I did not think to be a haunting or a paranormal activity. We thought that John's dad was just ill and, talking crazy. We didn't know that everything he was starting to do and see and the stories he started telling had anything to do with a haunting. So while Jordan was still living in the house, he was in his teenage years, a little bit older, getting ready to graduate high school. He started experiencing many different things in the home. He started to become afraid of the home and wanting to move. Every night when he would go to bed, he would have the worst nightmares. And that lasted for a while, and he thought, they were just nightmares, and that was that. He kind of shrugged it off. As the nightmares started getting worse, he started experiencing sleep paralysis. And sleep paralysis is when you're trying to wake up, you're awake, but you can't move, you can't speak. And it was really scary. And it scared him enough to the point where he knew he had to get out of the house. So he did. And he moved out. And that left Russ in the house by himself. At this point, Russ was in the house by himself. No one else lived with him. He quit sleeping upstairs in his room. All the bedrooms were upstairs. There was 4 bedrooms up there. He would sleep down in the living room on the couch. We thought maybe, he's more comfortable there than in his bed, or who knew, we just thought that was his comfort spot, and he was by the kitchen, and that was that. He started burning sage. It was not getting rid of the things that he said were there. Continued to do that. He started going in his car to friends and family's homes, sleeping in his car in their driveways. They would call us and say, hey, Russ is sleeping in his car in my driveway. I don't know what's going on. We didn't understand what was going on with him. We thought he was just crazy. And he was young. He was only in his 50s. But later on, we found out he wasn't just crazy. We started going over there and helping him with things around the house. And we would stay in one of the guest bedrooms upstairs. And all that was in that room was a futon, a bookshelf, And in front of the closet door, there were 2 boxes full of those thick dictionaries and one of the big box TVs that took 2 to 3 people to lift, blocking the closet door. One night I thought I saw something. One night we had wanted to put our stuff in the closet because the room was smaller and we were staying the night. We pulled the boxes and the TV away from the door. There was no door handle on the closet door. So John was trying to get the door open, and it was so swollen shut, and the house shifted, and we could not get that door open. So we just decided to put it in another room, and we proceeded to go to bed. This is a hard one to talk about. We went to bed. We woke up in the morning. Those boxes and TV were pulled away from the door, and that door was open, the closet door that we could not get open. We couldn't pry it open. It was open. And we looked at each other and we're like, what? How did these boxes and this TV get moved like this? And how did that door get open? So we looked inside and we noticed the attic access in the ceiling in there. We closed it back, pushed the boxes, the TV back. It's closed. Nothing can open it now. Next night, we go to bed. We wake up in the morning. My back was hurting. And I'm like, oh my gosh, something scratched my back. John said, let me look. So he lifted up my shirt, and there were scratches on my back. And there were no pets, no cats, and it looked like a cat had clawed my back. No explanation. So then we started getting freaked out. We felt more uncomfortable. We started questioning other things that Russ and Jordan had experienced. And that was that. Another night in the house, we stayed. Again in that room. Russ was downstairs sleeping on the couch. We woke up in the morning. The futon we had unfolded into the bed was moved to the other side of the room with us in it, and we didn't even know. Those boxes and that TV were pulled out from the closet door, and that door was open. After that, we didn't stay there for a while. We would go there and help out and leave. We didn't want to be in there anymore. It was starting to scare me. So some time went on, and we hadn't actually slept there for months, and we hadn't been there in a while. And Russ was moving to Florida. So he wanted our help to move him, and we did. And he gave us an offer to take over the house. He inherited a house in Florida. He wasn't going to stay there. He could sell it to somebody else, or if we wanted, we could buy it. We thought, man, this is a great opportunity. We could, start our lives here, raise our family here when we had one. It just seemed like a dream come true. So we did. And we lived there. Nothing happened for a while. And shortly after moving in, it's like it started all over again. At one point, I had made another room upstairs for my little cousin, and it was painted blue, and he was a baby. I watched him, between 6 months and 2 to 3 years old, on and off. And I made this room for him because we had 3 extra rooms. It was just me and John at the time. So it was painted blue. It had all the toys in there. I put a pack and play in there. And when he would want to take a nap, or even if we were just going in there to play, he would not go in that room. And that was Jordan's old room. I would try to take him in there. He would just cry and cry. He would grab onto the doorway and hold on tight and scream his head off. He wouldn't go in that room. So I was home alone. John was at work. It was getting late. It was dark outside. So probably like 9, 10 o'clock. And I was upstairs in our room, which used to be Russ's old room, not the same one we had slept in before. We kept that door closed. We never really went in there after that. I heard the door open, creaky old wooden door. Heard it open, slide across the floor, the weather stripping. And our glass, it was a glass door instead of a screen door on the outside, and that slammed shut. The hydraulic spring, or whatever you want to call it, was broken, so it would slam shut if you weren't careful. I thought, oh, John's home from work early. So I got excited. So I was still laying in bed. Waited a few minutes. Heard no movement. I didn't hear him walking, and they were all original hardwood floors. Those are noisy. You hear everybody and anything moving in that house. I heard nothing. He wasn't coming up the stairs. So I started like, what is he doing? Standing at the door? So I get up. I look out our bedroom window, which was above the driveway. There's no car there. There is no car in the driveway. I started to panic. I thought, oh my God, somebody just broke in. And I am here by myself. So immediately I pick up my phone and I call John's work. And I said, you got to come home right now. He only worked 5 minutes, if that, up the road. And I said, you got to come home right now. I heard the doors open and close. I thought it was you. There's no cars in the driveway. I'm scared. You need to come check the house and see if there's somebody in here. So he left work and came home. I stayed in our room until he came up and got me. Came home, looked around the main floor. He came upstairs. He looked all the bedrooms and bathroom upstairs, and then we went in the basement, and there was nobody in any closet, in any floor, in any room. There was nobody there. And I didn't know what to do. I said, well, you can't go back to work. I'm scared. You're going to have to stay home now. So he stayed home with me, called him, and I was just so shook up. And he didn't take it too serious at the time. He thought maybe I just heard something, and until he witnessed more things hands-on himself. Another day, John was at work. I was at home. I was by myself. I was sitting on the couch with which is on the main floor in the living room. And all of a sudden, I hear this loud crashing sound. I got up, went around the corner. It sounded like it was coming from the kitchen. I went around the corner, walked through the dining room, and got to the kitchen. All of our cupboard doors were flung open. The drawers were open. The dishwasher was open. All my dishes and silverware were thrown on the floor. Broken glass everywhere, dishes everywhere, and the silverware everywhere. There's no way it could have been a person. They would have had to walk right through the front door and walk past me to get in the kitchen and do that. I couldn't understand how this could be happening. After the dishes being broken everywhere, we knew something had to be wrong with this house. Something had to have happened here. That's bottom line. So I called the local library and asked them if they had any newspapers or historical information on our address, and they pointed me into the direction to get that information I was looking for. They gave me a website, and it cost like $20 or $30, and we paid for the release of these records on our home. And this is what we found out. Our home had been built in 1929. It was a brick, kind of Victorian slash bungalow style home. The owners had used this as a funeral home. They started restoring the home after it was no longer used as a funeral home, and covered up all the brick with some vinyl siding, and it was like covering up a piece of history and just trying to get it to fit in with the rest of the neighborhood that had grown and built up around it. After learning that the home, our house, was a funeral home back in the early to mid 1900s, we were not the same. We did not want to be in there. We did not feel comfortable in there. That's not what we signed up for. We may be into that type of thing and visiting places like that, but to live in a place like that is a completely different story. There were so many other things that happened in this home. I mean, there were so many events that just mind boggled us. My point is that these events are real. People do not take them serious. People do not know what to do in those situations. And everyone around them that they tell these things to thinks that they're losing their minds. So that's why I wanted to share with you just some of my experiences that I've had. Maybe it can comfort some of you who are one of those people that everybody just thinks you're crazy, or maybe to relate to somebody who's going through it now. If it's that so bad to the point where it is not leaving you alone, it's probably time to move on. Let the positivity in and leave that negativity behind. Um, and there's a lot of different things you can do than just burn sage, which I did not know at the time. Maybe we could have gotten rid of it had I known some of the things that I've learned now, but we didn't, and we moved forward. And I do know how to protect myself for future reference. My sympathies go out to you, they go out to anybody who is experiencing this or has in the past. It definitely leaves an imprint on our minds and it creates fear for most of us. So, thank you for watching, and that was our story time number 1 in the books. Um, True story. Some might be mythical creatures or campfire stories or even old folk legends. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and hit that like button. Also, make sure your notifications are on so you can see our upcoming videos. We are leaving this week to go on a trip. I'm not going to tell you where, but it's going to be awesome. So you have some great videos coming, and I hope you like them and share them with your friends. We enjoy having all of you here. We just hit 72 subscribers, and that is so big for just the past few videos that we've gotten. So thank you, and you all make it possible. And we'll see you next time. Bye.